Out the way, Savannah.
Savannah, I can't see.
Savannah, scoot down.
Savannah.
What's going on? Look at the one he's just walking forward.
Luke, no pushing. No pushing.
Alright, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. How are you guys doing this afternoon? Aw, we can do a lot better than that. How you guys doing this afternoon? Much better. So my name's Carter, I'm one of the educators here. Inside we have James, he's one of the keepers. He's going to be doing the feeding with us. How you doing, James?
Oh, we're doing pretty well. All of our birds are looking pretty invested in this feeding.
Alright, now before we begin, I'm just going to throw this one out here. If you guys have any questions throughout the crowd, feel free to just shout out or just raise your hand and I'll be sure to get to your guys' question whenever I can. I want to make sure that you guys leave here without any more questions, and you leave here loving these guys more so than you do right now, because they are pretty adorable. Now, James, you want to start us off by introducing our penguins?
Yep, absolutely. So right now I'm feeding Lou. Lou is one of our older males in our colony. Inside of the nest right back here is going to be Lou's mate, Araya. Araya is actually sitting on some eggs and incubating those right now. So Araya and Lou are just taking turns, keeping those eggs nice and warm and toasty. So it's Lou's turn to come out and join us for the feeding now. Now, right below me as I'm feeding, this is Montana. One of our newer females. She actually came to us from the Rosemont Gifford Zoo in Syracuse, New York. And then right next to her, who I'm feeding right now, that's Mario. That's her mate, who also came over to us from Rosemont Gifford. This is Tux, who does not want to eat a capelin for me right now and is walking away because he's upset that I'm trying to feed him pretty healthy fish. And now, right down here, we have Burgess. Burgess and Tux are all our mates. This is DJ, who I'm feeding right now. DJ is our second oldest female in our colony. And then right next to DJ, we have Chili, who is DJ's mate. And on the very far side over there, right in the middle, that's Opus. Opus is our oldest female Humboldt penguin we've ever had here, and she's 31 years old.
And then some of you guys might not be able to see, James I definitely know can't see right now, but directly behind me in the furthest end, we have Desi. He's our youngest. He also came alongside Monty and with Mario, but he's our youngest at 5 right now. So he's just hanging out in his little den right there, not looking for some food right now. That's alright. But as you might have heard James said, he's feeding them several different kinds of fish. Right now he's feeding them some whole herring, that's the largest fish. He also has some lean herring, sorry. A little bit smaller, less fatty. They might not like it nearly as much, but it's easier for them to swallow than the whole herring. You also heard him mention the capelin. That's small into vegetables in their diet. The healthiest thing for them, and the thing they like the least. Kind of just like children in that manner. What's best for them, they might not like to eat. And then lastly, they have their lake smelt. It's a small, tiny fish that more is just a snack to them. Just some fresh water quantity for them. Now, as you guys can also notice, James right now is actually not wearing a long sleeve shirt. James, are you actually comfortable in there?
No, I'm actually freezing right now. No, I'm kidding. They live in very warm climates, Humboldt penguins. They actually live in South America, in Peru and Chile. They are pretty much accustomed to temperatures far hotter than most of us here, at least in western New York. So they can even withstand temperatures upwards of 100 plus degrees Fahrenheit. It's about 70 degrees Fahrenheit here right now, which is very comfortable. So they do live right on the edge of the Atacama Desert, and it's one of the hottest and driest places in the world. Now, it might actually surprise some of you that not all penguins live in Antarctica and snow and the cold and ice. For the vast majority of penguin species out there, there's 18 species. Only 4 are typically found in Antarctica all year round. All the others are going to be in much more temperate, hot, almost tropical climates. The northernmost being the Galapagos penguin. So the Galapagos Islands actually fall right on that equator, and it's very warm there.
Yep, so these guys actually live in Peru and Chile
Develop your hand.
on South America, right alongside the Humboldt Current, thus their name, which was discovered by German explorer Alexander von Humboldt, thus the name of the current. So these guys actually are South American birds. Again, as James said, they're one of the warmest weather birds. On average, the temperature in Argentina and Chile right about now is about 80 degrees, maybe 90, pushing it. So these guys are actually one of the warmest weather penguins. In comparison, of the 18, only 4 live in Antarctica, those being the Emperor, King, Adelie, and Getsu, who just so happen to be the largest 4. All the rest will live in places such as South America, such as these guys. Some will live in Africa, such as the African penguin. Others live in New Zealand and Australia, such as the little blue penguin. And some live in Galapagos, such as the Galapagos penguin. Now these guys, being what they are, also share one common similarity with the others, among many things, but that's the fact that they love cold water. Now in there, the air temperature is about 70 degrees, their water temperature is about 62, and the wild, their water temperature is barely crossing 30 degrees sometimes. So these guys are actually a lot more comfortable in here than they would be on the wild, because they actually don't have to worry about that. Excuse me. But the water in there, again, is a lot warmer than they have to deal with. The air is a little bit cooler, so it's a lot easier for us to be in there when we're trying to feed them or care for them. And it's a lot easier for them as they don't have to worry about heat stroke, or they have to worry about freezing to death. As it's pretty warm in there and pretty cold at the same time, so it's right where they would like it. Right where it's comfortable for us as well. Now, do you guys have any questions? I want to make sure I'm asking you guys some questions, making sure that you guys are getting all the questions you guys have out. Yeah. How much fish do they eat each year? It's a little bit hard to say. Per day, however, they eat about a pound of food per day, per penguin. So about 370 pounds. But you also have to put this into perspective. All of our penguins are a little bit different. Right now, James is feeding Opus, our oldest and lightest penguin. She's about 8 pounds, so eating about a pound of food is a lot for her. She's putting on almost an eighth of her body weight for doing that, so she might eat a little bit less than a pound. In comparison, directly behind me is Desi. He is about 18 pounds, so he's almost triple, right about 2.5 times the weight of Opus. So because of that, he's eating a little bit more than she is. So again, it's kind of hard to say how much each penguin specifically eats. But good question. Yeah.
How much do these two weigh?
How much do those two weigh? James, how much do Tux and Burgess over there in the corner weigh?
They're right around 12 to 12.5 pounds typically. They weigh pretty similar sometimes. Tux is a little bit bigger. He's a little bit trimmer than Burgess is. It's all going to depend though, but they are, Burgess is actually one of our larger females in the colony, so she's going to weigh a little bit more than the other females. Opus, DJ, and Araya, who's in the nest, they're actually all about the same size. They're pretty tiny.
So that puts them all around 8 pounds. Well, Monty is about maybe 10-ish pounds, so all of our penguin females are a little bit on the lighter side. Then we have Chili, Lou, Tux, Mario, and Desi, excuse me. There are males, and they actually weigh a little bit more, but honestly there's really no way to tell a male from a female apart. The only way to do so is either looking at the spots on their chest, and that's the only way you can actually tell penguins apart, or by actually doing a blood test. Now, these guys don't exactly want to sit around and give their blood for us to do a blood test, so ultimately we just have to kind of figure them out based on their size comparison to one another. But unlike us humans, they don't have any external characteristics that separate males from females, and they barely look different from one another besides their occasional scale. So that's why you honestly just have to be here a long time, like James says, to just learn who likes what and where they go. Now, because James has actually been here so long, he has learned a few things. James, isn't it Have you also been struggling to feed them out of one hand or the other? Sometimes they only take it out of one hand specifically.
Yeah, penguins by far are the pickiest animal I've ever worked with in my career. I didn't think it was possible for an animal to be this picky, but I was actually very surprised. So they all have their different preferences as far as food goes. So the differences in species of fish that I feed out, some definitely prefer ones over the others. So I have to make sure that they get a nice variety of everything too, which can be difficult. The way that I present it to them, if I hold it like this, some penguins won't eat it, but if then I flip it around like this, some penguins will eat it. So I have to learn each individual quirk, and then like Carter did mention, if I put a fish in my left hand, some birds will look at me like I'm trying to poison them. Once I flip it over to my right, they'll eat it pretty readily. Who knows?
So again, these guys are pretty much exactly like children. They are a bit spoiled, so they do like how they will like it, and they really don't want that to change all that much. Now because of that, they also each kind of have their own little area. So as you can see, Desi has kind of picked this far nest, furthest from the rest, all over here for himself. And during the middle of the day, it's a little bit past that, you'll actually see him standing right about where James is, a little bit forward in front of him. That's where his spot is. Then Tux and Bird just like the far corner on the opposite side away from Desi. Lou and Orion always like that den, the last den on my left. Opus kind of likes that spot where she's being fed and to the second nest from her. And then Lou and Orion and Chili and DJ, however, they kind of like to just wander around. They'll go from nest to nest to nest, so they really don't have a preference for what they want. Do you guys have any questions you want to ask? Alright, now James, do you want to mention to us what that sound is coming?
Yep. So I'm not sure how well you guys can hear it out there, but that's Mario vocalizing right down at the other end there. He is basically calling out to see where his mate is. So Monty went and walked back over towards the nest there. He was just missing her and wanted to make sure he knew where she was. And now Lou was just calling out to Araya, although Araya I'm pretty sure is right in the nest with him. Sometimes they still just do that regardless. They have a very wide range of vocalizations. What you just heard were called ecstatic displays. It's where one penguin's calling out to another from a distance typically. There's also mutual displays where members of a pair bond will call out in unison with one another. And that's usually done to strengthen the bond between the penguins. Think of it as talking to your significant other on the phone, making sure that you catch up with them so they know what's going on with you. There's also vocalizations for parents to call out to their chicks from far distances to find out where they are. There's also vocalizations too for if the penguin's getting a little bit too close for comfort. You want to tell them to get out of the way.
Alright, well thank you, James. Then you guys have any last minute questions? We are at the end of our show, so I want to make sure that if you guys do have any questions, we'll get around to them. Yeah. How much what?
How many times a day do penguins get to eat?
So how many times a day do the penguins get to eat? So, James?
Yep, so we offer them food 3 different times every single day. Now, we do 2 primary feeds that are going to get the bulk of their diet, make sure they get that nice base diet, all ready to go. And then we do also offer another, basically a light snack, later on throughout the day. And that's usually reserved for enrichment sessions and training sessions. So I'm not sure if you guys have been around here for long enough to see our marine mammal trainers work with our seals and sea lions, but we do the same exact thing with our penguins here. We do training with them to help them engage both physically and mentally as well, keep them nice and interested in different things, keep them learning new things, and us training behaviors can also help them out in their day-to-day lives. For instance, every week our vets come on site here and we actually have to weigh all of our birds. We have to do a head to toe, I should say beak to tail, physical inspection of them, make sure they're in full working health. So if we can train them to step up onto a scale voluntarily, it's going to be a lot better for our birds to be able to do that, get a big fish, instead of us picking up and putting them on there. It's just easier for everyone all around. So if we can train them for certain behaviors, they're called husbandry behaviors, to help them participate in their own health care, that's an ideal situation for all of us.
Well, thank you, James. And thank you guys for coming out here. If you guys do still have any more questions, I'll be around to try and answer and get to you guys. If you